Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 17 of Project LS400. Notice something different? Yeah, it's under covers, but also it's lost its wheels. Nah, just kidding, I took the wheel off. And why? Let me show you. So this is actually the very first time I took the wheels off. For two reasons. I wanted to paint this rusty caliper. You can see it through the spokes, the holes in the rim. I don't like that. And also I never have checked the brakes. So I wanted to check the thickness, and I brought my vernier caliper, checked the thickness. Minimal thickness is 26 millimeters, and I measured 34, 35, so that's good. Let's have a peek at the brake pads themselves. Hope it shows. There they are, they have plenty of life left in them, but the car came with a set of new brake pads, so I might as well toss those in once I cleaned off the rotor. Furthermore, I want to check the brake line for cracks and rust. Car needs to pass its inspection once I get it registered again. So I want to try to get it through in one time. Maybe a bit difficult. I also need to check these boots on the ball joints, the upper and the lower. There was a remark on the previous inspection sheet that there was a little bit of play. And these boots may not be cracked. I'm gonna look for that. If I need to replace it, it's very expensive. This is a €500 part. I have it from my previous LS. For the life of me, I can't see any play in there, but the inspector said it was a fail point, so I needed to buy a new one. And what I also want to do is take out these fender liners, clean everything behind there, scrape off the mud in here, make it look decent and neat. Now here we are at the rear wheel. You can see the car is not standing on its wheel, so I can rotate it. Now if I have to break loose the wheel nuts, it's a huge pain in the behind, so I bought something new. An Impact, and it has a breakout torque of 550 Newton meters. That should be sufficient to break wheel nuts loose, but this thing does what it says it does. But it had a hard time breaking the wheel nuts loose, and let's head over the car and show you why that was. Some smart mechanic put an awful lot of copper grease on there, and I suspect they tightened the wheel with the air impact. So they were basically way over tightened. I'm gonna clean this. So I went ahead and pulled out the fender liner. It looks quite good. Behind there, no hidden rust. Only thing I could find is this bracket. It's a bit loose, don't know why. There is a clip below here, but it's missing over there. And over here you can see small pieces of rust, but that's something for a later moment, the body work. So I'm gonna remove the caliper bracket and take off the rotor, and then see how I commence from there. Caliper bracket and the rotor are off, as you can see. I took some shielding off on the back side. Now if you have a peek at those two cylinders, you can see they're fairly rusted. It's rusted on the backside. I didn't plan to take the whole caliper off, but I'm gonna do it. The brake line itself, it's okay. There are no cracks, so that looks good. I don't need to replace that. They aren't very expensive, about 30-40 euros, but they're nowhere to be found. I'm gonna leave it be. I'm gonna unbolt the line and clamp it close with two copper washers so it doesn't leak. Now let's head over to the bench. So here's the rotor, and now let's do a comparison in thickness of the brake pads. Look at that gap, see how deep it is. On the left side you see the outer pad, and on the right side of course the inner pad, and the inner pad is much thinner. So while I'm at it, I would replace this, and the inner pad also has the brake wear sensor attached to it. My previous LS had that cut off. I'm happy this one has it. Here is the caliper bracket with the guide pins. This one is stuck. And this one just moves, but it's very sticky. So that may be the cause why one of the pads is more worn, or that is the cause that the inner pad is more worn than the other. So here's the rotor. It only needs a cleanup. Of course, it's rusty inside, but its mating surface is good. And I'm not sure if this rotor is warped. I only driven the car for 4, 5, maybe 6 weeks. I don't recall there was any warping, but maybe I'll ask a mechanic friend to have it checked and maybe put it in a lathe and skim it off. So I'm gonna take this home and give it a good clean. I hope this works. It's still dripping a bit, but there are 2 soft washes on the inside and 2 normal washes, an 8mm bolt and a nut on there. So I hope it prevents from draining the entire brake system on this side. Not sure, it's still dripping, but it's worth trying it. I have to bleed the system anyway. So the last thing I wanted to do, my free Sunday, is take off the rear wheel and put my new impact to good use. I'm gonna do this off camera. I hadn't planned to film anything today. I didn't bring my camera stand. So here's a before and here's after. I'm gonna measure the thickness of the rotor. Oh, there's a lot of rust on here. Now yeah, things are not looking good in here. The caliper itself isn't as rusty as the one on the front. The caliper bracket is. There's rust. And also the worst rust is up there. Oh man, it really looks bad on camera. So that may be the bodywork project on Project LS400. Anywho, I'm gonna take off the caliper. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take off the entire shebang. This is a bit rusty. Brake line doesn't look too bad from here, but I'm gonna take the whole shebang off. There are new pads in here, but you can see this hard rust mark on there. I don't like that. But as you can see, this rotor has seen better days, so it needs to come off. Now, it can be a bit of a struggle to get those rear rotors off because the handbrake is in the way, so I'm gonna back off the brake shoes from the handbrake or e-brake, and then it should be easy to come off. So the rear brake rotor is off. Now it acts as a stand for my work light because I wanted to show you this. There's a hole in here, and behind here, where I'm pointing my finger right now, there's the adjuster for the e-brake. If you push it down, it loosens, gives more slack in those brake shoes. When you push it up, you can adjust it. You can tighten the e-brake. Now these e-brake shoes are original from factory, I guess, because there is hardly any material left on there. And we have a sudden change of scenery. It's Thursday at the moment. I started filming this episode on Sunday, and I'm working on cleaning the calipers. And this is the front caliper. And there's an aluminum body over here with the 2 pistons, and this part over here goes to the outside. This was the rusty part that was visible through the rim. It's cast iron that's held in place by 4 bolts. Now I want to try to get that off so I can clean this. This doesn't require painting. It has a sort of a natural coating, and I only want to clean it. But this could use a coat of paint, and I bought this new kit of Torx bits, larger one, and I tried to get it off. This one fits. It's a Torx 55, but I couldn't get it off. So I grabbed my other new toy. I'm gonna try to get it off. Now, warning to you and to myself, these chrome plated sockets aren't suitable for impact wrenches, but I have no other means than try this. I only have a small vise, but when I use my torque wrench over there, I couldn't break it loose, so I want to give this a try. Either this will be a massive failure or a massive success. Anyway, I bought this entire kit for this socket only, so here goes nothing. And it's apart, and what you can see is that it took me over an hour. I could get 3 out of 4 bolts out with my impact, but for the last one I had to use a lot of heat and a larger vise and my torque wrench, and then it just snapped loose. So now it's apart. I can clean this, I can clean and paint this. So let's just catch you up when I'm done. This is the end result of all the cleaning. Look at how nice and clean. The major part of the caliper is the caliper back, with the pistons itself is nice and clean. This is the rear caliper. I'm gonna paint all of these. As I said, I thought about leaving this be, but there's some decoloration. So if I paint them, they have a nice uniform color. I treated the bolts, sorry. They are cold blued. They have a nice coating on them. And the pistons are clean. Now this may look a little bit rough around the edges. And it is. It's a protruding part, and there was really a thick layer of scaled rust on there. Sooner or later this will start corroding again, but this has plenty of life left in it. The pistons themselves are good as new. Alrighty, it's the end of the day. I've been painting and cleaning all weekend long. Is the caliper, and just by pure coincidence, these seem to be painted in the same paint, but this is actually painted in some zinc spray. It prevents oxidation, and it just so happens to be exactly the same color, so that's a pure coincidence, but it looks nice. So the brackets are painted, calipers are painted, and here are the covers that go over the brake wear sensor. There's a connector on the back of these brackets. So there's that. I had planned to finish this episode by installing the refurbished brakes on the cars, but I ordered the parts last Monday, and it's Saturday now, and I just got a confirmation that the parts are on their way. They're coming from Poland, and it might take a week and a half before they arrive here at my shop. So we have to park this episode here, like I said. I hope you liked following me along. If you did, give me a like, maybe subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and well, unfortunately that's it for this episode, but I hope to see you on the next one. Bye bye.